The experiences a young person has in the first 2 to 6 years of their work life form the foundation for their habits, abilities, and attitudes for a lifetime. That's what we will talk about next on Lakeshore Focus. Stay with us. Welcome again to Lakeshore Focus, a weekly show highlighting the key issues, important events, and interesting people in our region. I'm Keith Kirkpatrick. Do you remember your first job or your second? Do you recall the best boss you ever had or the time you got chewed out or fired? How about the moment at work where you felt you were part of the team, vital to success? For better or worse, our youth, starting as young as 10 through their early 20s, engage in work experiences that shape who they are, how they feel about themselves, and how effective they will be as an employee or worker. Today, I have two people who are dedicated to helping young people have productive opportunities and learning what it takes to succeed in the world of work. First, Kathy Holum, who serves as a manager for a program called Jobs for America's Graduates within our Work One system, and Mike Barrett, who sits on the Northwest Indiana Youth Employment Council, having been a previous chair, but also a former bank president and past CEO for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Lake County. Glad to have both of you guys on the show today.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you look so good. That's what I just have to say.
Thank you very much, Keith. I appreciate that.
I see Mike on a regular basis, and he doesn't always necessarily look this good, but today you cleaned up really well.
No blue and khakis.
That's true, from the old days, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about youth today, and so let me start with you, Kathy. I mean,
okay.
You've worked with kids for a long time, right? I mean, so where did you kind of first start working with kids?
I first started working with kids when my son was a year old. He was what was called medically fragile. He had asthma, so I couldn't put him in daycare. So I decided to start a daycare, and my passion working with kids just kind of blossomed from there. I went on to start after-school programs and eventually get involved with the JAG program.
So you're even an entrepreneur.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, wow. So you've kind of worked the business side and you work the helping
Yes.
side, so you spend a lot of time around
Yes.
young people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I have.
Mike, these past few years, kind of after you stepped out of the presidency of the bank and working in banking for years, you kind of jumped in starting to work with kids. What got you into starting to spend more time with younger people?
Well, I really had a passion for trying to help disadvantaged kids in particular. I had experiences in banking with several of the nonprofit community development organizations in some of the disadvantaged areas of Lake County, and recognized the difficult living situations a lot of the families had there and then the kids. So it was an opportunity for me to try to find ways that I could get more involved.
And you've done some real one-on-one stuff too with kids, because you worked at one of the high schools for a year, just kind of helping kids understand more about their careers, right?
Well, I had probably one of the greatest experiences of my life. I was an AmeriCorps member and had the opportunity to spend a year at Calumet High School, New Tech, as a career counselor, and got to work with kids, helping them think through what their career choices might be, talking about what their interests were, trying to help them, as freshmen in particular, think about what they needed to do for the next 4 years of high school to be better prepared to graduate and either go find a job or get additional training or college.
So what a great opportunity for them to have someone like you with your background to be right there on site talking with those kids. But probably you both learn a lot working with kids today. So as you spent the time with some of our kids today, what do you think what do they seem not to grasp or have a really tough time trying to understand about work and experience and things? Kathy, what's kind of tough for them?
Our kids, our youth right now are very smart. They have just maybe some difficulties gaining the experience. Seems to be the biggest obstacle that I see with the kids that I work with.
Do you think they understand the value of the experience?
Some do and some don't. I mean, it's really hard to say. Some really do. Some will have those babysitting jobs and mowing grass and just know that working in itself is good. Some want to focus on their schoolwork and don't really see the value in actually having employment. So we try to let them know that you need this experience, that this will make you a well-rounded individual, that learning from an actual job opportunity is going to help you just as much as what you read in a book.
Mike, when you talk to kids, what's the one thing you're trying to convey to them that they need to understand that maybe you think, I'm not sure they're really getting this yet?
Well, what I certainly learned when I was at Calumet High School, many of the kids really didn't start to think about what the future looked like. They don't have any visual of what work life might be, what career opportunities existed for them. And so a major part of the conversation was just to get them to start to think about what things they were interested in, what kinds of things they might like to do with their life, and then to start to put some reference points together so they could identify what some opportunities might be that match their interests.
Let me ask you this, because it's kind of a reaction. I sometimes think we as adults do a disservice to kids, being one of our first questions is, what are you going to do when you grow up? Do you agree with that? I just think I think we're asking them, you need to decide right. It's like you need to decide right now. Did you know what you were going to do when you were 16 and 17?
No, absolutely not. And I tell kids that I work with, think of everything as just forward motion. Maybe you'll do something for 2 years that'll help you with your ultimate goal. Maybe you will go to college for 4 years and move on to something else. But as long as there's forward motion is really what I preach to my kids, that you're always bettering yourself, getting more knowledge, looking at all the opportunities and just constantly moving forward. You will never have to settle into one specific career or occupation. I've worked in so many, being on the business side, being in retail, being in management, and then also working in youth services. And I'm passionate about all of them, and I've just been blessed to continue to educate myself and now help children find kind of what they're passionate about and just continue to learn, just always learn.
Well, Mike, you asked a really good question a while ago. You say, I just want to know what you're interested in. You try to find out their interest. How do you do that?
Well, it's talking about them. What do they like to do? Are they in sports? Do they like working with people? Are they more comfortable working independently somewhere? So just trying to get them to express what interests them. Kathy makes a great point. I think a lot of kids are really struggling trying to figure out what that might be that really excites them when they're a freshman in high school or younger.
I want to know for both of you, what's your answer? Because I think this is a typical answer for a lot of young people. What do you like to do? I like to text my friends. I like to play games. I like to hang out with my friends. What's your response to that?
I would say the ability to be social is going to be necessary in a lot of occupations. The ability to use technology, again, just so many occupations need that. And even though those are hobbies right now and just things they enjoy, just that they have the skill set to use technology and that they have the willingness to go out in crowds or to, be social, those are huge assets that they're going to have depending on which career they want to go into. They're just all great personality traits.
Is that kind of the direction you would go to, or how do you kind of take it to that next step?
It's really hard to generalize. I had a really interesting experience this past weekend. We were out to dinner with some friends, and their freshman at college, their son was along, and he had been very interested in coding all through school, and he was developing games and putting them online, torturing my wife and me, trying to help us learn how to use these games, which was very difficult since I have no hand-eye coordination. But anyway, he was telling us about a business that he started, entrepreneurial, and he's taking his coding into developing an app that will go out and search online. He's now developed a business where he's reselling a high-end product. He will find somebody who has one of these for sale and identify it online with his app and then repackage it and market at a markup very nice markup given the value of these products, and he's made a very nice little business while he's in college. And so there's kids out there right now that are using technology in all these exciting, innovative ways that I couldn't begin to understand. But so there's those kids that are out there really out in front of what's happening in the technology side. Then we have the other kids who are still trying to figure out what they're going to do. And Kathy's point about they're probably going to have to get comfortable with learning the rest of their life, and many of them are already tired of school when they're in high school. So it's also trying to recognize the challenge many of our kids have now to recognize what the future is going to look like, and the jobs are going to be continually changing. I think we all say now that the jobs that we're training them for today may not even exist, or the jobs that we want to educate them for won't be there when they graduate from whatever programs they go to.
Let me ask you if you can explain the disconnect on this. I was just at one of the high schools this morning doing junior achievement, and we were talking about careers to freshmen in high school. And I asked the question, so how many of you plan on continuing your education? I didn't say go to college. I said continue your education past high school. There was still in the room several who didn't raise their hand at all, and some who kind of did this little, shorthand thing. And I'm thinking, 25% of you in here, to nearly a third, don't still really grasp how important it is to get an education past high school. How is that message? What's happening that they don't get that?
Well, I think Kathy and the JAG program
You're working with them all the time. Why don't they get that?
I think they get it. I think they're intimidated. I think they feel that if they decide on a major right now, that's what they're locked into. I don't think they understand that it's a stepping stone. And then the other thing is we are seeing an increase in more of those hands-on jobs, the skilled trades where they can go into apprenticeships and still learn. And it's not a college-based learning or a classroom setting. And I think there's a lot of value to those also that kids are beginning to see and considering. So it's not that they're not interested in college per se or that type of format of learning. It's just that they know there's other opportunities that have a lot of options for them also.
That's really an interesting observation, that commitment to continuing education past high school is a two-step process. One, you just have to say, I'm going to do that. And the second is then I'll figure out what I'm going to do. But I think you're right. They probably think, well, I need to know what I'm going to do in order to make that commitment. Mm-hmm. So as adults, we can maybe help them understand you don't have to commit to going to college or a major or an apprenticeship program or anything right now. Just commit to doing it. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the challenge I think many of the schools are really wrestling with. How do we help the kids identify what those options are? It's like we were saying earlier, how do I figure out what my passion is when I'm 15 years old? And the idea, there was a great test, and I think it's been discontinued, but ACT used to have a test that some of our schools were giving in freshmen, and the output was not only academic skills, but it also asked questions that got some of their social interests, and the output included something that was called the world of work. And I thought it was a very, very powerful tool to help kids identify what their interests, social interests and so forth, might lead them to consider for careers. And then this world of work divided the world into quadrants that if you really seem to enjoy working with people, here are some careers you might want to think about. If you tend to want to work with your hands, here's some other careers you might want to think about. And then it had a list of what some of these might be, and it was just a tremendous discussion tool for me as a career counselor and for them to take home and talk to their parents about.
Well, you've made me think about the second question that's not a good one. The first one is, what are you going to major in? What do you want to be when you grow up? And you're asking 16. We've already concluded we didn't know that. None of us. Right. I think we've now substituted that with probably another bad question, which is, what are you passionate about? Do you know what you were passionate about at 16 that you can say on public television?
Well, I was just thinking that, probably not. But,
I mean, most kids, I don't know what I was passionate about that age. Do you?
I always felt drawn to teach and work with kids. I think
Okay.
ever since I was young,
But would you call that a passion for yourself at that point in time?
No, I guess not passionate, but
An
I was
interest.
kind of drawn. It was my primary interest then.
So again, I think this is trying to explore. Let's talk a little bit about this work ethics thing, because Mike, you're on this Youth Employment Council, and you started this initiative, 15 years ago, I think, when you were chairing. First of all, what is work ethics? What are we trying to teach when we say kids need good work ethics?
well, one of the things that we're talking about the soft skills that virtually all of us need, regardless what we're going to be doing with our lives. It's skills we need in school. It's those life skills, as Mike Berta would like to call them, like showing up to work on time, listening to instructions, following instructions, good listening habits, dressing properly. I have a poster here, may I?
Yeah. This is a poster I think you've been using. Won't you hold that up so
it
maybe
came
our
with a
audience,
prop.
so maybe our audience could take a look at that. While he's showing that, Kathy, are these things real important? I know you've seen this poster many times, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, very important.
Why are these things so important?
It's just the basis of your life skills of anything going forward. Work, having a family, raising your own future family. And a lot of times some of the youth that I work with may have not had good modeling in their families. So it's trying to show them a different way to live their lives, to be more successful, to not have those struggles that maybe they've seen in their own families. And, just showing them how much they can be, helping with their self-esteem, helping with their confidence. And these are all things that will make them successful in the community and successful for themselves.
How do you address that issue? And a good point. On here, you manage your time effectively, show up on time. How do you overcome the fact that they see their parents not doing those, or people in adult roles in their life who don't pay any attention to those things? They don't show up on time, they don't manage their time well,
Right.
and that's what they see.
We try to illustrate people who do have good time management and how it plays into their success and what they're able to accomplish, and use those as the examples. We never, I don't know anybody else's struggle and what anybody else has been through, so we, never want to say they're doing it wrong, obviously, but we want to show, well, let's say you are able to get to work on time and how much better you're going to do, and if your employer can count on you for all those things that you need to do during the course of the day without calling out sick or having an excuse not to work, just how much more successful you're going to be. So we just try to highlight all the people that are very successful in their community. A lot of times we'll have other employers come in and speak with our classrooms, tell them, their feel, what they look for in employees, and we do a lot of mentoring, just a lot of positive influences. We try to keep the
And
kids
kids
going.
need these kind of things.
Absolutely.
Mike, you've hired in your lifetime, in your career, all kinds of people, young ones, older ones, and so forth. And I know you and I have both heard this phrase, hey, just give me somebody with a good attitude and has some of these basic work ethics, I can train them to do the job. Is that really true?
Well, I think it is. These 10 skills that we have on that poster were developed over, we've done, I think Center of Workforce Innovations has done 3 surveys over the span of the last 15 years, surveying over 100 businesses in Northwest Indiana. And these 10 skills have consistently come back as the most important skills that employers are looking for in people that are coming to work for them. And as you said, Keith, they are generally able to teach them the technical aspects, but just having the discipline to show up to work on time, positive attitude. I don't know about you, but I really enjoy going into a restaurant and having a good experience with the wait person. I always like to recognize, I hope Jeannie doesn't see this, my wife, but if I am in a McDonald's, just getting a cup of coffee, I would never or in a Wendy's.
You're just kind of making that up because
I'm
you probably don't go to those
just-
places.
I can't go to Wendy's or McDonald's very often. But if they smile when they're giving me my coffee and look like they're having a good day, I'll try to recognize them for it. Point out that smile is really a nice way for me to start my day with my cup of coffee. And I think it's something that each one of us can do. If we see some young person in one of those fast food restaurants or whatever,
Or wherever they're working.
doing a good job, well, take a second and just say something to them and recognize that they're appreciated for what they're doing.
One of the things, Kathy, I think adults don't understand, or both of you, that these work experiences that young people get can happen any place. I mean, and
Absolutely.
anytime they're helping an adult and doing something, whether they get paid or not, it's kind of a work experience. What do we say to adults, both of you, what do we say to adults to enhance that experience? Because I think a lot of times adults are afraid to give feedback or talk to kids and reinforce this stuff. How can they reinforce these things?
Definitely by demonstrating them themselves, obviously, making sure their staff is all on the same page, making sure that they're consistent with discipline across the board with all the other employees. And then again, parents just making sure that they're demonstrating the best they can, all those good work ethics and good skills, good life
Mike,
skills.
one of the things you're saying is the greatest thing is continue to compliment them on these things.
Yeah, nothing better than positive reinforcement. Trying to observe the behavior that you're expecting or hoping they would demonstrate, and then saying something. We all think about money as obviously the incentive that we work, but I've always been pleasantly surprised in my world of managing how many employees are just very happy just to have a thank you for a great job or being recognized. So I think that's something we can all do.
Well, let me ask real quick, Kathy, if you have the opposite side, you have a student, a young person who is not practicing these, so there's nothing to compliment. They're
Okay.
doing the opposite. What do you do to kind of instruct them if they need to be doing it differently?
So what we do with JobWorks and JAG would be if we have a student who's having some difficulties is we coach them on how they can improve those behaviors, set up kind of an action plan, let them know what the rewards are for improving those behaviors, whether it's just complimenting them when they achieve their goals, or maybe they work a little harder at work and get a raise, get promoted, just all the opportunities and possibilities that are out there just for improving their work ethic. And again, like Mike said, complimenting them when they do something successful, making a big deal about it for them is huge, because a lot of people do need the pat on the back, especially if they're not getting that regularly. So,
Well, I really appreciate both of you being here and sharing these thoughts. I really hope both young people and older people who are watching this will gain something from it. I know, Mike, we're trying to get more service clubs and adults to hire kids. We need more adults to give feedback to kids, and I hope that we've got kids who will take some of these messages and become more successful, because they're going to be taking care of us in our old age, right? That's what we always say?
We hope so. And appreciate your having us here today to be able to talk about some of these programs that we're involved in.
absolutely, great.
Well, thanks a lot. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I can still remember my first jobs as though it was yesterday. They remain deeply implanted in my memory because I learned so much. At the time, I didn't think I was really gaining from the experiences other than a paycheck. Yet as I reflect, there were many, many lessons that formed the basis of the worker I would become. My first notable job was mowing yards. Where I lived, the summers were humid and unbearably hot. No matter the temperature or how soaked my t-shirt became, grass grew and had to be cut. People depended on me showing up. They expected a job to be done well. You had to please the person you worked for to get the compliment, perhaps a tip, and invited back. Some wanted way more than they were willing to pay, and some were generous with cold water, great job, and extra cash. Those were lessons I learned. My second job, where I felt I was like an employee, was working at a Ben Franklin store that carried everything under the sun for the residents of my small hometown. Here I worked as part of a team who needed me to do my job unpacking shipments, carrying stock to the shelves, handling the trash and sweeping. The things I did were important, or at least they felt like it. Boxes needed to be stacked neatly. Everything in its place. Merchandise had a numbering system. Pricing came from printed sheets. Accuracy was critical. Location was consistent. Organization in all things. Handle carefully, keep it clean, don't break it. Wow, there were so much to learn as I watched the ladies display products, wait on customers, run the cash register. I watched and learned. On the rare occasion I was able to assume any of those duties, the message was, you have learned enough to do the high-level work. Not the most important, because what I did was important too. They taught me that, and I absorbed the lesson. I eventually worked in a theater, an ice cream stand, a grain elevator. I hauled hay, cut trees, opened envelopes, filed documents, and more. Every task was an opportunity to learn. No task was insignificant. Every one required skills, method, and procedures. Your attitude, relationship to other workers, handling of customers were all important. These early experiences are what shape our youth. They shaped me. We must give young people opportunities to learn, make mistakes, observe, and practice. That's how we learned, and that's how they will learn. Thanks for watching our show. Did we inspire or educate you in some way? You can send your thoughts and feedback to us through the email address listed on your screen. Check out our website. It is full of interesting features. Specifically, you can watch past episodes of Lakeshore Focus. Just go to www.lakeshorepublicmedia.org. Click on TV, scroll down until you see my picture. One more click and you can view a list of previously aired shows. Tell your friends and family that you watch Lakeshore PBS. Join us next week for another Lakeshore Focus. Until then, I'm Keith Kirkpatrick saying, make a positive difference in our world today.